What's on, where, and when. It's the Talk of Nelson. NBS Talk Nelson.
At NBS, we believe in banking for life. For over 160 years, we've been a trusted banking provider for generations of locals like you. We know our clients personally and build long-term relationships with them, offering flexibility by giving our staff freedom to make quick decisions to put them first. Experience banking for life with NBS.
The Mako Rugby Roundup.
All right, welcome to the Mako Rugby Roundup. I'm Chris Butler and welcome back to Les Edwards. Nice to have you here, mate.
Thank you.
We're thrilled to bring you all things rugby on the top of the South. And today, a very special treat. We've got two guests, Jordy Hart, coach of Moutere Club, and also Alister Bundy Sutherland, president and team manager of the Moutere Club. Great to have you here, guys. Welcome across the hill.
Thanks for having us. Yeah.
Now, we've had Central before twice, haven't we? But we haven't been able to get another club over the hill, so fantastic you've made the effort. Who's holding shop today? Or did you just skive off?
Pretty much.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Well, it's great to have you here. Before we dive in, a big shout out to our venue sponsor, the Turf Hotel, Main Road, Stoke. Thank you to their continued support. And Thursday night, it's jam night. Les, did you go along last Thursday with your guitar or no?
No, I did not. Mate.
Well, you got another opportunity this
Thank you.
Thursday night. Friday, it's DJ Tripper. Saturday night, another chance to jam. It's karaoke night, Les. And also on Sunday, it's UFC 302 and the meat raffle, $2,000. So that's a pretty good roast, that's for sure. In this episode, we're going to be catching up with Jordy and Alister about the Moutere Club, the journey and future goals. We're going to review the latest in First 15 rugby, senior women's and senior men's Tasman Trophy, upcoming matches and what the standings are looking like. Deep dive into Super Rugby and also what's happening overseas and the Black Ferns performance, which will look pretty good to me when I saw them play last. Okay, let's get into it. It's First 15 Rugby, round 2, and how did it go? Looks pretty successful.
Yeah, so the boys would be very, very happy with their college, Marlborough Boys College, getting another good win over Timaru Boys High School, 17. Did you get a chance to look at that or talk to anyone about the game? Do you know anyone in the outfit?
So one of our players, Bray Tanwifilau, has their Tonga as a coach. So I've had a few quick yarns with him just about how they're tracking, but not in depth. Haven't watched the game personally yet, but I see they've started 2 from 2, which is pretty good.
It's all you can ask for, isn't it?
Yeah, and we've got lots of the boys in our club are graduated from there over the last few years. So I know they like a few of them got down before our game in the weekend to watch them play.
Yes, I saw some of them in their jackets, blazers, I should say, on the scissor lift having a gander at the game. So yeah, it's good to have that connection with your local college. On this side, Nelson College 27 beat St. Bede's 15 over in Christchurch. So Nelson College also 2 wins from 2 starts. And great news, Waimea combined 41 beat Roncalli Aoraki over in Motueka. That scoreline 41-24. So all 3 colleges undefeated after 2 rounds. So absolutely brilliant start and you know, long may it continue.
Yes, great results by all the colleges. Round 3, how's it lining up?
Well, it's the big battle. It's the Whangamoa Cup. So Thursday, Marlborough Boys College hosting Nelson College. I would guess on the front field at MBC there, 12 noon. Lads, you'll be taking time off work again, I would imagine, to go and have a look at this.
Yeah, I think so. It's always a good game to watch between the 2 teams and look forward to it. I think the Marlborough boys really lift when they play Nelson College, so it'll be all on.
Yeah, I think it's a good indicator, isn't it, of the strength of the 2 this early in the season anyway. So whoever wins, great. Whoever loses, plenty of time to get back on the wagon and get stuck in for the semi-finals. In the other local game, Waimea Combined are travelling again. They're off to Christchurch to play St. Bede's second 15. They're playing that game Saturday, 11:30.
Geez, it'd be a good measure of where Waimea are, but because they great one against Roncalli. I mean, St. Bede's a good side, but be a good test, won't it?
Yes, I
Yeah.
agree.
The Senior Women's Tasman Trophy, how did it look round 5, Les?
Yeah, so Waimea Old Boys hosted Kahurangi, went down 48-22. And then in our game, Marist went over to Spring Creek to play Moutere and lost the game 39-5. Won
Won the game.
Sorry, won the game 5.
We would have taken that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you would have.
right.
I was there in time to watch the second half, and
Yeah.
your ladies were gallant. They stuck in the game and kept at it. In the end, I think it was just the firepower of the Marist forward pack that wore them down in the end, and some pretty pacey players out wide.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the girls lifted for Marist, they always do. And, they had a few injuries and sickness, so it's a good effort from them.
That's probably just highlights the club rugby struggle. The start of the year, they started out with a squad of 22, 24 and had a good win in the first round. And then just the compounding injuries week to week, I think they're sort of down to around about 15 starting the game. So pretty tough when you're playing good teams and you've only got the 15 starters. So you're always sort of backs against the wall, but they,
We've
got a
talked
good
about
core.
women's rugby, and we think there's about 3.5 teams of players in the region. We talked about it with Latoya Mason. And yeah, it is tough, eh? If you've got a squad of 15 and you're playing contested scrums and 15 aside, Marist, to their credit, went over with 15 plus 3 on the bench. So, look, it was, it's just tough. All teams and all grades and divisions are skinny at the moment. So just got to get on with it. And Chris, no rugby this weekend?
No,
for
just
the
noted that
ladies?
for round 6.
Yeah, so King's birthday weekend, no rugby for women's division or for Division 2.
Get a rest up. So Marist leading the way, but equal points with Kahurangi. So very tight at the top of the table, followed by Waimea and Moutere. Still some work to do for the rest of the season. Senior Men's Tasman Trophy and results from this weekend.
Yeah, so round 9, the game over in Lansdowne Park, Central 19 lost that game to Kahurangi 28 and handed the John Goodman Challenge Trophy back to Kahurangi. So you'll remember that Central had visited Rewalker, taken that trophy back to Blenheim, but Kahurangi have got it back. And I know that trophy fires up all teams. When you have a crack at that, you want to lift your game. Kahurangi did. Stoke 67 beat Nelson 28. So Nelson, on the back of a good game against Waimea Old Boys the week before, managed to put some points on, but went down. And then in the main game, Moutere hosted.
That's because it's Moutere playing, not Marist.
Yeah. In the main game, Moutere lost to Marist 64-28. But guys, I'm going to let you talk about it because I thought your team was pretty terrific. I mean, they scored 5 tries and never gave up. So tell us about the game from your perspective.
Yeah, well, obviously we had a light, we sort of had about 20 players going into the game. So we knew against Marist, pretty formidable team, that it's going to be tough, but we're just pretty happy with the effort and resilience of the guys to keep going. I've talked to them a few times this year, how I think there's been 3 games where we've got 3 tries. And, just like missing out on that 4th try for the bonus point sort of starts to add up. So that was a real big emphasis, just to keep going, keep playing, and to end up with like 5 tries. We're pretty happy with the effort. All throughout the year with the effort and the resilience has been there, but it's just really just trying to, like I say, get that 4th try. And a couple of games we've sort of lost by about 10 points. So once again, another time where like if you get another try or another penalty and you get within 7, it sort of is, it really adds up at the end of the competition because the ladder's really, really tight this year, especially that top 5. So all those little things count.
Yeah,
So
I agree with that. So from Marist perspective, an excellent effort by their forward pack. I thought the 2 props, Tausami and Quinn Harrison-Jones, were outstanding, ably supported by a very good flanker in Luke Collier. And the back line utilised that ball to put on 10 tries. So, Marist back on the wagon after 3 losses in a row, Chris.
That's right.
You breathe a sigh of relief that, you found your way again. Bundy, it was club day.
Yeah.
Were you happy with that?
Yeah, it was a great day. We had 16 JAB teams playing there in the morning, and obviously to have the women's team as a curtain raiser, and then our team, it was very successful.
And you had a stunning day. It was absolutely gorgeous over there. And field looked good. So we'll talk about that and the upkeep. But look, it was a really good day. The kids, they just were fizzing. Round 10 coming up this weekend. So
the guys aren't going to be playing this weekend? Right?
They are. Yeah. Yep. So Waimea Old Boys are hosting Kahurangi at Jubilee Park, Saturday, 3 p.m. Then there's a double header on Trafalgar Park. Firstly, Nelson hosting Moutere at 1:15, and then Marist hosting Central at Trafalgar Park, Saturday, 3 p.m.
Okay, let's take us game by game through the picks. Who are we picking?
Oh, yeah. Kahurangi will be on a roll, but Waimea at home will be quite interesting, won't they, lads? And I heard on the news this morning, James Lash is going to be running the cutter for them, so he's decided to join the stalwarts and help his club out. So
it's great to see it. Like I finished playing 5 years ago, and when we played Waimea this year, there's like quite a few of those old boys back from when I was playing, and it's great to see like guys getting back involved in clubs and lending a hand because it definitely helps when you're in terms of from a coach's perspective, like having a bit of leadership there, and they're the guys that are there for wanting to represent the club, and they're the passionate guys. So it's really cool when they get back involved in the group and gives a bit of to the younger guys.
Yeah, we had a little bit of that on the weekend. So our bench was short of forward. So last year's coach Con Barrel put his gear on.
He hasn't
played for 22 years. But
how long did it take to strap him up before the game?
That's a lot of strapping. But look, the guy got on and played the last 10 minutes. So again, credit to these men who decide that when the clubs needs a bit of support, the stalwarts come out. So
we had a guy who was around 50, and he hasn't come to training at all. Well, he's not expected to play, and had to give him the phone call, and he turned up, and then he
got on.
Yeah, and he's like you say, Con there. It's like pretty awesome to see that these guys are still running around for the enjoyment of the game and helping out. So it's awesome.
Yeah.
So who are we picking? Waimea and Kahurangi. You've picked Les, but
where is it? Oh, Jubilee.
Yeah.
I'd probably still run with Kahurangi.
I'd probably say Kahurangi, but they're pretty electric out wide.
That is Kahurangi's strength, isn't it? The pace out wide.
Jack Gray and their wingers are just scorching guys.
Yep.
So you got to be really clinical shutting them down. But looking at the Waimea team sheet, I really rate them as a team too. So
we're probably collectively thinking Kahurangi 7 and under.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay.
Close,
cool.
right.
Then the double header starts with a game for your men. So Moutere against Nelson. How do you feel you can go with this one?
Well, I'll leave that one to Hardo first.
No, you're going to have a chat, mate.
Yeah.
I know where it'll go.
I'll deal with the coach first.
Really confident. We just scraped past them in the first round, which was our first one in the season, which was really good for us as a group. So they're probably in a little bit of the same position as us, like struggling a bit with numbers and, probably down the lower end of the table, but there's definitely a lot to play for. And, I believe we're going to come over here and have a good day. And I hope our players are thinking like that too. So,
the common thread throughout comment when we're doing these picks is when teams take on Moutere, not going to be an easy game. They're a big pack, big strong pack. So, taking it up the middle, is that a key idea, or with the big boys, or?
Yeah, well, we've just got some like really good ball runners who, when they're there, just add a lot of X factor to the team. But the work commitments and etc. Sometimes that they're unavailable, and it just can change the point of attack. But at the same time, that's a good opportunity for other guys to step up, and we showed that last weekend. So yeah, just hopefully that those guys can step up and take their chances and back themselves.
Yeah, so it's going to be quite a tight match, I'd imagine.
Yeah,
It'll be a good
Bundy,
match.
you'll be in charge of the team bus. So are you bringing Monu Molly with you?
Oh, he'll be there. He's still got an injury.
Okay.
So he's probably a wee way away from starting. But he'll be there. He'll be running the water. He's good for that. But playing on Trafalgar, the boys will be really into that. So they'll live for it, hopefully. Yeah.
And then in the main game, Marist hosting Central at Trafalgar Park. And I tell you what, Central are a tough team for all teams to beat, and especially Marist. They do. Over the last 3-4 seasons, we've had some really tight matches. So I know where my heart lies. I think it'll be a very close game. But so I'll let Jordy. You can have a tip here, and you can follow Bundy.
Oh, definitely always got to back the Mulber team lead. So,
There you go.
I'm going to be outnumbered here.
yeah, we played Central a few weeks ago back on a Friday night, and they had starting to get their Carthy and Co back from injury, and they're a pretty impressive outfit that night. So they got some pretty good players and leadership. So actually thought they were gonna, it was surprising for me to see in the weekend the Kodangi result. But yeah, I think Central they've done it a couple of times, so they know what it takes really, and that's no knock on Marist. But talking to a few of the boys, it seems like that's Marist's bogey team. So yeah, I'd probably have to pick Central in a tight one there, 12 and under.
Yeah, I'd agree with Jordy. I think Central time they run pretty nicely for finals, and they seem to be just hitting their straps regardless of the result against Kahirangi. They do know how to play finals footy, so and we get to that sort of end of the season, I'd back them.
Geez, they back their own, don't they?
Well,
they
should.
And what? Tell us about Derby Day. So when you do get to take on Central, what are those days like? I mean, there's always in Nelson, I guess they get the opportunity to play each other regularly, but you don't play each other so often. But you know each other presumably quite well. Big crowds, big supportive crowds. So tell us about those days.
Well, it's the only time we play. There's two premier teams in there, so it's us. So we've had 2 night games over there, and they've been a real good success. And I think as long as there's 2 premier teams, we can play on a Friday night. It frees up the weekends for the lads, and we fronted really well in the first game against Central, and the second game they were well and truly prepared for us out at Ararua and gave us a good lesson. But we enjoy playing them. Yeah, and
like the first game of the season, they sort of Central got out to 19-0 in about 15 minutes. We're thinking, Jesus, like, how's this going to end up? But we fought back and ended up being 19-10, and missed plenty of opportunities. So that gave us some real confidence. And then, and it was an awesome crowd that night. And then the second round, we out at home at Awadua Park. We sort of had another amazing crowd. Sort of seemed like half of Marlborough were there, and we did a big thank the sponsors sort of thing, and it was just a real good vibe. And once again, half time it was 10-0 to Central, and we were kind of right in the game, but we just pretty much defended the whole first half, and that probably told in the end. So that with the score ending up how it was, it probably didn't feel like that, but like I was touching on before, half time when they run on, Q-Mac and Carthy and Max Hicks played, it doesn't make it any easier for when you're trying to compete with those guys. So, yeah.
Yep.
Nice.
Um,
Fantastic.
after round 9, the points are that Kahurangi is well clear now, 31 points, then Stoke 27. Maris jumped from 5th to 3rd on 26 points, Waimea Old Boys on 25, Central on 24, Moutere on 10, and Nelson at the rear, -6.
Okay, good luck to the teams this weekend. No Div 2 this weekend because it's the long weekend, but Division 2 in Marlborough, how's that looking from your guys' perspective?
Yeah, I think in Renwick at the top of the table, they're looking pretty strong again, and closely followed by Central and Waitoa, and I think Archery is sort of in the top 4 there as well. So
Yes, yeah.
Yeah,
So-
six teams in total.
Yeah.
I know Pelorus have been struggling for numbers, same old story with a lot of teams, so they're just going to try and battle on through. But yeah, I haven't actually watched the game, but from what Bundy just said, that seems those first 4 teams.
Yep, that's the way it lies. Moutere don't have a Div 2?
No, we gallantly tried to get one together at the start of the year, but we probably need to carry 30 players for Premier Rugby, and we just couldn't get it together at that time. But there's still a lot of young boys out there that could be playing footy, and we'll try again next year to get it together. So
awesome.
Super Rugby round 14, and the Hurricanes only just doing it over the Chiefs. Great game, Les.
Oh, fantastic game. And I was really annoyed with that referee spoiling what could have been an extra time game, because I thought it was a ridiculous penalty. He penalised Jacobson for being absolutely trapped after a solid tackle, being caught up in a ruck, and there was no way he could get out of there. But anyway, the referee found a penalty, and the Hurricanes kicked the goal to win 2017. But a superb game of rugby. And man, there is some talent in New Zealand when you get these derby matches to watch.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting with All Black selections, isn't it? Whether we see some of those new faces. I'm always a fan of bringing the younger players through, so I hope so. Brumby's doing it very comprehensively against the Rebels, 53-17. So showing their colours there. Moana Pacifica, 27 over the Waratahs, 12. So great win by them. We'll come back to the Crusaders game. The Reds, 59 over the Force. I mean, the Reds are just a completely different team the Force are a completely different team when they're away. Great win there by the Reds. And yeah, the Highlanders actually doing it quite comprehensively in the end, 39-3 over Fijian Drua, because there was a lot of talk about, what the Crusaders have to rely on in order to get into the finals. But let's talk about the next game. I have to say, Les, last week I picked it.
You did.
Yeah, both the Tour and you picked the Blues.
Yeah.
And I did wonder whether a home crowd, last-ditch effort, a few players back, whether they'll do it. And Crusaders 29-27, what a game.
Yeah.
And have to say, probably Blues didn't have their best game, did they? But
No, and they've done that a couple of times now against the Crusaders. So is it a mental thing with the Blues when they have to play the Crusaders? So look, an excellent win, and just great play from Cody Taylor and Ethan Blackadder and Noah Hotham, the halfback. I thought they were superstars in that game, and they were behind, rallied, and got the win. So, gentlemen, you would have watched that.
Yeah, no, we did. It's good for Rob Penny. He's got a connection with Marlborough, been the RDO back in the day, and maybe the hot mic sort of stirred the boys up and got them moving. But yeah, no, good on them.
Yeah, absolutely. So I don't know where that all ends up, Les, because there was all sorts of talk about, was it that Fiji had to have a win, or does it all come down to this weekend? Have you worked out the scenario?
Oh, absolutely.
You've done your homework.
Yeah, absolutely. So, when you look at the top 7 is locked in, and that will include New Zealand side, Blues, Hurricanes, Chiefs, and Highlanders.
Yeah.
That's a lock. Then there are 3 teams vying for the 8th spot in the comp. and they are Fijian Drua on 21 points, Force on 19, and Crusaders on 19.
Mhm.
So all the Crusaders can do, right, is win on Friday night. And get 5 points. That's a must. But Fijian Drua are hosting the Rebels in Lautoka, and the Force are hosting the Brumbies. I don't think the Force can make their way into the 8, but I think that Fijian Drua are real hot prospects to get a win in Lautoka. Now, interestingly, you talk about that Highlanders 30-point win over Fijian Drua. The Fijian Drua came over with a plane with their players and some supporters and immediately left after the game at 6:30. So, you know what their focus is on. Their focus is on the Saturday. So for the Crusaders, they have to win, and they have to hope that Fijian Drua get rolled by the Rebels, who aren't a good team at the moment. Would you agree with that scenario?
Oh, for sure. I mean, the Drua and Fiji are a totally different team. So, yeah, I'd say they'll get up. And
it's a real point of difference to them playing at home, especially afternoon games. They've got a heat that, compared to the night games. So,
yes, they pick a good time, don't they?
Yeah.
Definitely.
No wonder they got out of Dunedin pretty quick. They'd have to didn't want to acclimatise too much, did they?
Yeah.
Okay, let's go through the picks then, round 15, very quickly. We'll just go around the table. Crusaders and Moana Pacifica.
Oh, Crusaders.
Crusaders on that one. Waratahs and Reds, Les.
Oh, the Reds.
Waratahs at home.
No
Reds. Way, no way. Okay, big call for you, Fijian Drua versus the Rebels.
Let's go the draw.
Right, it's at the Crusaders' detriment, potentially. Hurricanes and Highlanders. Highlanders come into a bit of form recently, so...
Hurricanes.
Too clinical.
Yeah.
Geez, what a big one this one is. And it's really a precursor. They don't really have to play for anything. And I'm sure they'll have one eye on the finals. Blues versus Chiefs, Blues at home. Will Blues try and make a statement, or they kind of not put all their eggs in that basket knowing that they're going to be going into finals?
Oh, look, they need a win. Just to get their campaign on track, to consolidate first spot, which is important. And what a game. Look, close to call, but I'll go Blues on Eden Park.
At home. And then the Force, totally different team at home, taking on the Brumbies.
Yeah, I think I'd still back the Brumbies.
Brumbies are going to be too strong. Also, let's look at international women's game. There was one really on the weekend, and that was the Black Ferns taking on Australia. And you'd have to say, what a turnaround.
Yes, big bounce back after the loss to Canada. Really pleased to see the Black Ferns getting their mojo back. A 67 points to 19 win over Australia is something to savour. So the Spritzers would have tasted great after that game for the girls.
Dropped a couple of their key players.
Yes.
Was that a statement, or was that just, we've got enough firepower here to give some of the younger girls a crack?
Both. I think there's a bit of a statement there to say, don't drop your standards. And by the way, we've got to keep looking at the depth of our squad. So.
And you'd have to say those younger players really stood up, didn't they? There's some exciting prospects there. Yeah. Fantastic. You're with the Mako Rugby Roundup and Moutere. It's a strong rural family club. So can you tell us how did you first get involved with the club, and what do you love most about it? We'll start with you, Bundy.
I think the Sutherland name's been involved with the Moutere club for generations, and we've been sort of woven into the fabric of the black and white jersey. There's names like Sutherland's, Woolies, Harts, Gaines, Pacey's. So I just followed my father out to the park. He was a chairman and president. Then he was a union delegate. So I'd spend a lot of time in and around Aroa Park growing up as a lad, and just followed up through the grades. Yeah.
Did you play yourself?
Yeah. Played. I finished in 2001, but played Premier Rugby with Jordy's dad, Ken, and grew up with some real characters through that era. So very enjoyable times. Yeah.
And of course, the Hearts, you mentioned the Hearts, so big family connection.
Yeah. Probably growing up, played soccer for a couple of years, and then probably ended up playing going to rugby probably about under nines, I'd say. And actually my uncle, it's my dad's sister, Philippa, and her husband Rob Avery. They got my cousin Caleb, he's the same age as me, so that's pretty much how I first got involved playing rugby. Uncle Rob was our coach from sort of under nines all the way through to about under 15s, 16s when you sort of start playing for college. And yeah, he pretty much coached us every year, and I'd just walk around to their house for get a ride to training. And looking back on it, just passionate people, club people, which are the heart and soul of your club, really. So that was basically how I started out at Moutere Rugby Club, really.
So with those football skills, they give you the kicking responsibilities?
Yeah, well, I actually was a goal kicker.
You were?
Growing up, yeah.
Nice.
Until probably about under 13s, 14s, reps included. But then, I like to say I gave it away, but some people say, get the old tap on the shoulder and
took it off.
to concentrate on.
So if there's a couple of players
field.
down, they bring you on.
Yeah, well, in club rugby, I was like our actual goal kicker.
Yeah, right.
So, but probably made more sense to, concentrate on running and getting around the field rather than trying to be a goal kicker when you're a front rower.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so I'm going to dive a little bit deeper into the Hart family. You mentioned your dad, Ken, being and he was a Marlborough Centurion, played 101 games for Marlborough, enormous effort. And Uncle Calvin, also a Red Devil. So the Harts, those brothers, pretty synonymous with a lot of activity in Marlborough, including hotels and rugby and bowls, lawn bowling, a big passion of the Hart family.
Yeah.
Are you a bowler?
Yep. 3 years I've been playing now, so pretty good fun over the summer. Pretty good mixture of social aspect and competitive aspect too. So really enjoy the old lawn bowls.
Yeah, well, I've run into your dad and uncle and around the Monopoly family, actually. So Francis Monopoly was a stalwart of Nelson Bowling Club, and the contest between Nelson Bowling Club and Moutere. Is that the bowling club that you had? Or
my bowling club's Riverside, which is down Budge Street.
Right. So Calvin and Ken would have bowled for them.
Yeah.
So those two clubs are pretty close, and I'm now bowling for a cup in Francis Monopoly's memory. So outstanding family, and just your granddad, was that Uncle Johnny?
Yeah.
Granddad Johnny.
Yeah.
So he's famous too, eh? He did a lot. He was the biggest contract sharer in Marlborough back in the day, and he was also the owner of some pretty fine horses.
Yeah. So pretty big business they're sharing back in the a few generations ago. They travel kind of right down the South Island and co, and then pretty much between that and his one of his passions was definitely horse racing. So the old stat gets thrown around every now and again. I think one is he was the first owner at the time to have a starter in the New Zealand Trotting Cup and the Galloping Cup in the same year or something like that.
Right. So did both. I was going to ask, was it gallops or harness?
So
both.
Just loves both, I suppose.
Yeah.
And that's continued on the ownership with Dad and Uncle Calvin. Followed horses. Most of their life, and it's quite ironic they've actually got shares in a horse with Bundy as well, and it's won its last two starts actually, and they've both been there, and poor old Bundy's been at the rugby running the waters on. When we had it, both ran on a Saturday.
He missed.
The phone call come through. It's always good.
And then he's actually got a share in another horse, and we had a that we had a chance. That was that Friday night game, and he had the chance to get over and watch that one. And it, sadly, yeah, just competing right at the
Stay
bottom
away.
of
That's
Atlanta.
horse racing. Yeah. You're also got a big connection, of course, to the McDonald clan in Marlborough, synonymous with Marlborough. So a few cousins that are close to the club. I saw Hawani McDonald at the club rooms after the game. So you got a good connection with your cousins.
Yeah. So my grandma was a McDonald, so there was big family. There was 21 of them all up.
Yeah.
So like my grandma and Hawani's father were brother and sister. So that my dad and Hawani makes them first cousins, and there was about 100 of them all up. So pretty big numbers. So plenty of people to do things with and play sports and stuff. But Hawani's been really good. He's kind of grew up down in Southland and moved back with his family a few years ago. So it's been awesome for like me and Ben as first time coaches, just having a guy there that's on hand to help with any potential problems. And then another guy, another first cousin of Dad's is like Jamie Joseph.
Yeah. Right. Yes.
So he's another great like source of knowledge to if you have any sort of curly matters arising, just to give him a text or a ring, and he just adds another perspective kind of alongside like my dad. He never really comes to me and tells me, but he's definitely there if I ask him. So I feel like pretty well supported in that aspect from just family members who are just wishing you the best, really. So it's pretty cool.
Wonderful.
Awesome. Bundy, your dad, John, he played for Marlborough and served on the Marlborough Union. So what are your memories of watching him play along with your cousins, Raymond and Alan?
Yeah, well, Dad he finished rugby before I sort of had any memory of him playing, but he was a life member of Marlborough Rugby, and that's back in the day where you all had to put in, and you had to mark the grounds, mow the grounds at Lansdowne Park. I between Arrow and Lansdowne Park, I spent a lot of time in and around those guys, and Dad was a great rugby man. He really enjoyed it, and he was his first cousins with Raymond and Ivan Sutherland, the rower, and of course Alan. Alan played for Opawa, but Raymond, I don't know how many, and he played 160 odd games for Marlborough, but they were huge for Moutere, and of course I probably watched more of my uncle Kevin Sutherland. He played over 112 games for Marlborough, and
he was a life member too, wasn't he?
Yeah, and good, great coach, and so it was just great growing up around those men at that time in Marlborough Rugby, especially. It was always pretty strong back then. So have some good memories.
So some storied family connections with Marlborough Rugby through these two gentlemen from Moutere. So you were founded in 1906, which means there's a 125th anniversary coming up. I guess you're heavily involved in some pre-planning for that.
Yeah, I know we'll have an occasion. It's not too far around the corner. I mean, it just seems like yesterday we had the 100th, and that was a great occasion. We managed to win the competition that year, and Ken, Jordy's dad, was the coach. So as a club, we're probably trying to gear up for special years like that and try and get the team right for those sort of times. So, it's planning, and it'll be all go. Yeah, hopefully.
So nearly 125 years. There must be some storied legends of people who've played for the club. Do you want to tell us a few who stand out from your perspective?
Well, there's heaps, but right from the start, there's been the Woolies way back in the day. Obviously, Raymond Sutherland was huge, and Arthur Pacey, he's another man that was huge at the Moutere Club. He's only he's been gone 2 or 3 years now, but he was huge for the club. There's some great family names there too, like Gaines. Raywin Gaines, she always keeps us pretty honest, and she keeps a lot of the referees honest. Lauren's mum, she keeps the Marlborough referees pretty honest. There's some cool family names and their boys are starting to come back through the system now, which is good too. So
one man that I've always respected greatly is Ewan Robinson.
Oh, Ewan Robertson, of
And
course.
so
Yeah.
I met Ewan in my days at Tasman Rugby, and he's a life member of Tasman Rugby, like a number of relatives of yours. But most importantly, he was patron of the Tasman Rugby Union for a number of years, and just an absolute gentleman. Still with us.
Yeah.
So a shout out to Ewan if you're listening.
Yeah, no, Ewan's our patron, and he was there last Saturday.
Yeah.
Yeah. Probably had his head in his hands a couple of times, but he'll tell you like it is. And I think Mason's over the hill here.
Yeah, he is. He's a sponsor of works for a sponsor of the Mako.
Yeah.
Very importantly, though, Ewan was a pretty fine fullback in the day, wasn't he?
Very much so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just to add on from what Bundy was saying, in my perspective, like Uncle Arthur, like growing up, he's just was the fabric of the club. Just
Uncle Arthur
Pacey.
Yeah.
Okay. So everyone just kind of knew him as Uncle Arthur. Just a respect thing, and shit. When you actually look at, he's probably done 60, 70 years service for the club in all types of roles, and wasn't afraid to give you his honest opinion at times, which is good. So for me, growing up, he was obviously the so-called old boy that you probably think, man, this guy's a legend. And then for me personally, like current day status of people, for myself is probably Mike Curry. So he just moved over to Marlborough out of school from Nelson, and just started playing club rugby and just continued to improve year to year, and basically fast forward, he's ended up becoming a professional rugby player at super level, NPC, even international with Samoa. And then it's pretty cool to get him back this year. He's come back and played 2 or 3 games, which he's actually really keen to come back and play club rugby for us. So it's been really cool for the younger boys to, see a guy that just wants to come and play for the club that he sort of started with, or he probably actually started with Nelson Rugby Club, but he's, and that Friday night game against Central, we presented Mike with his blazer for 50 games. So that was, pretty cool as from a club point of view to, reward guys that have been there and done that. So, it was a pretty special night.
Well, and another present local legend, from my perspective, she played rugby on Saturday, and then she was behind the bar all Saturday night. Hannah Gillespie. Ladies like that are just gold, aren't they, to a club?
100%. I mean, Hannah's our go-to for a lot of things. She knows the ins and outs of the club, and she'll tell you what you're doing wrong and what you're doing right, and it's good to have that. Otherwise, you tend to go off on a tangent. But no, she keeps us all under control, and she puts in for that women's team, and we really need members like that in the club. So,
and then there's Awarua Park itself. Do you guys own it?
No, it's actually it's just come off. We've leased it for over 100 years, so it's just coming up for renewal of the lease. But we own the buildings, and we maintain it, and so we do everything by ourselves. So we've got sort of a part-time groundsman who doesn't get paid, Jason Gill, but he puts in hours and hours and hours, and so things will be interesting going forward as to what happens with the ground. But we certainly do our best to maintain it and carry on with it. Yeah.
Well, a shout out to Jason, because both fields were in really good nick on Saturday, and that's hard work, man. Do you help out in that area?
Yeah, I started watering it in December because it was so dry over there. So I spent a lot of time down at Awarua Park. I think my nav man, my truck says when I get in, it's 5 minutes to Awarua Park. So we've put in down there, that's for sure. Yeah.
Jordy, you've taken over the coaching role this year, and the team getting 2 wins. And so those wins over Nelson and Waimea Old Boys, relatively young team, so good confidence going forward, moving in the right direction.
Yeah, well, I'll just preface by saying it's been me and Ben Feenhouse helping me coach this year. So, pretty much between me, Ben and Bundy, it's only been the 3 of us, so we're pretty light on the ground, but can't fault the effort of the other 2 guys. Benny's been there. I finished playing in 2019, and he stayed the whole hog. Like there was 2 years that they sort of 1 year they combined and 1 year they looked like combining, and he was there through the lot of it. And last year we got one win last year, and then I think he made note to say it's the first win they've had for 2 or 3 years. So we just sort of got together and thought we can try and drive us forward as a club, really, and we see the potential there. And it's just trying to get guys connected and keep guys involved with our rugby club and move it forward. So into the season we've had 2 wins. The Nelson game, we just scraped there. It was pretty trying conditions. It was the one weather game we've had this year, created lots of opportunities, but probably just showed a team that haven't, had a lot of wins, but kind of got over the hurdle, which was really good. And like I say, first round Central and Kodangi, both games for sort of 60 minutes, we're right in it. Probably just playing a full 80 is what not quite let us get there. And then the other win against Waimea, pretty awesome game, that one. Like they're a good team. And we just everyone just fronted up, and it was really, really good.
None of us took it. So it was a great win.
Yeah, and and if you can reach that hurdle, there's an opportunity to do it again. So it's like you say, it's when you jump over that hurdle, we can do it, and it gives you the confidence to do it.
Probably almost frustrating in a way, because we can, as coaching management group, we can see that's how we can get to, and then it's just probably trying to replicate that week in, week out. That level of performance.
So tell us about how you're enjoying the role and some of the challenges for you as a coach. Enjoying it. First year, obviously, for all of us, really. So kind of walking into the unknown a bit. That's where Hawani was really helpful in the pre-season. At times sometimes feel, some players know a bit more than yourself, but you just sort of got to back your your ability and keep on pushing, really. So really enjoying that aspect of it, and working with the younger generation. We don't have too many older boys, just trying to grow some confidence, like kind of rebuild the club, really. And I would say the biggest challenge probably for a premier team, I would think the first thing would be the player pool. So worked pretty hard on the over the off season about getting guys back involved. Probably lucky in a way with the it was sad also to see Waitohi not have a premier team, but we picked up about 5 or 6 of those guys, and they've been really awesome, brought into our team. Most of them pretty much been starting every week. Really good, at all our training. So big thanks to those boys for coming and wanting to. It's awesome to see that there's still guys that want to play Premier Rugby. They know they're Waitohi boys, but they just want to try and play some Premier Rugby, which has been really helpful for us. But overall, really probably the biggest challenge is I think most coaches would say it, just the amount of players you have and getting them to training, etc. I mean, at the end of the day, it is an amateur game, so there's people have jobs, they've got to work on the weekends, they have family, birthdays, etc. So we've probably been not hampered by injuries as much this year, but probably more just availability due to other things. And like as a coach, I get that, because when I had a few years out, I just kind of put rugby on the back burner and just concentrated on work and kind of just that was what it was all about. But a few years on, you soon see that, it actually is enjoyable getting back involved. But like I say, I can't fault guys for having to go to work and provide for their families, etc. It's just, part of it. It sounds like you've got a reasonable mix of experience and new players. Can you tell us about a couple of younger players that we should keep an eye on?
Yeah. So, well, we've got one, as Lee said earlier, one Mako in our team, Monu Molly. He's our team captain. Awesome guy, awesome leader. Yeah, he got injured against Waimea, so he's been out for a while. But in the forwards, a boy first year out of school, Jack Burden, like playing really well, 6, 7, or 8. Like pretty big jump for the first 15 into Premier Rugby as a forward. I think he's really talented. Be definitely looking at like a Tasman 19 sort of thing, I would think, for him. And then the backs, probably in terms of representative players, our halfback Bray, he's in the the HP setup, but also played a couple of tournaments for Tonga in the sevens circuit. So there's him, and then at centre Jake Pacey. He a couple of years out of school now, and he sort of started all the Crusaders under 20s games at the tournament. And so Arthur Pacey was his grandfather. So he lives in Spring Creek. So yeah, definitely Jake. And then our current captain at the moment, Clyde. He sort of played Tasman development last year, I think, and he's been a real leader for us. So those are probably the guys that come to mind. I always don't like naming people because you feel like you miss someone out. But yeah, in terms of representative guys, those are probably at the forefront of our current team. Yeah,
Right, good stuff.
So Bundy, you're the president.
Yep.
So who are the key volunteers you rely on?
Well, I mentioned before, Jason Gill, Mark Taggart, he runs the JAB with Anna Dunn. They've been fantastic. We've always, the JAB's been a real strength of the club, and to keep that many children involved and tick along. So Mark and Anna done a great job there, and obviously Hannah. I'd be remiss to not mention my wife, Beck. She's come on as secretary. She's done that for the second year, and she's been fantastic. She keeps me up when things get down a little bit, and she's been awesome. Lauren Gain, he's been brilliant. He's our delegate to the union, and he does the stuff at a lot of unforeseen stuff, and he's been brilliant. And he just lets me get on with running the club itself. And there's so many names that are involved there. But when things were really dark for the club, our committee was probably our strongest point. Our committee was probably bigger than as many players as we had there when we combined with archery. So that's our strength. And going forward, it'll get us to where we want to be, I think.
Yeah. I think we know, but your biggest challenges as a head of a volunteer committee?
Yeah, well, I guess fundraising, that's huge. There's a lot of things that go into powering a club, and especially at Premier level, you've got to have some good backers, and we're lucky this year. We've brought on some really good sponsors. And just keeping the club rolling, basically. Money is crucial, and another thing is social media. You got to be really onto that. It's just things like 20 years ago you didn't even think about in club rugby, but you got to be spot on. You got to be sharp with it all. So there's a few challenges for us as a country club to get our head around things like that. So going forward, we've just got to lift our game in that department as well.
Yeah, currently you don't have a Div 2 team, but I took from what you said that your goal is to build your depth so that you're doing that. But is your focus for Moutere to be a Premier Division club going forward?
100%. We want to be where Central is. We're 2 years back in the Premier grade, and we're taking little steps, like winning one game last year and probably not defaulting was a major. And again, this year we've got 2 games under our belt, and we've been. Last Saturday we were pretty light, and we got through it. And Jordy and I were very happy at the end of the day, weren't we? Yeah. We got through, and I think going forward we've just got to keep bringing our young crew through, and Premier Rugby's not easy for young boys to come out of college rugby. I mean, they're the big dogs at college level, but when you get out there and you get a guy like Natani running down the wing, it puts life into perspective. So so they go, but going forward, you get 2 or 3 years of Premier under your belt, and they'll be a lot better for it, and keeping them up and involved and going forward, wanting to be there.
We've talked to every club about the duress that the game is under in the Tasman region in terms of player pool and being able to keep a viable competition. So just in the last 3 or 4 years, Marlborough's gone from 5 clubs now to 2. Do you see any fixes to this situation?
I think we're not the only province to have those issues, but I think I watched Stoke play Nelson Club and under 15 level. They were the curtain raisers last, and I think staying connected with the clubs is a good option. Boys and girls get locked into that college system, and it seems to be good at the time, but they come out of there sort of a little bit overcooked, especially in that first 15 level, and it's just finding that right balance. I've never seen so many boys that young boys use shoulder injuries and knees. It's huge, and it is an issue, but you just got to keep them interested and keep them buoyed to carry on. They come out of that college system and they seem a little bit tired, a lot of concussions, and we've just got to find that right balance. And I think that's like that everywhere.
So could you see the day where Moutere could have a under 17s, under 18s team?
Yeah, we probably could with our Premier sometimes, but no, well, not at this stage.
No, because they're all in the college system?
Well, they're in the college system, and I think, probably for Marlborough itself, or their population base, they probably need to be in that college system there, but maybe at under 15 level, like the clubs have done over here, we could probably do that.
Yeah, I was talking at a coaching clinic with one of the guys who coaches the under 13 club team, and he said there's either 4 or 5 club under 13 teams in Marlborough, and then the next year when they go to college, you got to play at college, and it's under 14s, and it straight away drops to 2 teams. So
you're losing kids.
Yeah, and they're like, there's plenty of options. I think everyone's probably else says it. There's so many options kids can do these days, but if you're starting to lose kids at that level, you generally don't get them back by the time you hit sort of 15, 16, 17, 18 onwards. And just touching on what Bundy said about some of the burnout, guys play a couple of years of first 15 rugby, and they're probably like it's almost like they get out of school and they're just like happy to take a year off, because they're probably guys that are they love playing for a club, and potentially like a Red Devil or a Griffin or something, but they're not going to be an NPC type player. And we've had a few over the years where out of school, it's just like, man, they've just taken a year or 2 off, and then that just kind of affects at the club, because you're sort of hoping that those guys will come back, and then you don't blame them because they just want a break, but definitely harder if you can retain someone. It's a lot easier than someone going and trying to get them back. Yeah.
I think just reflects on what everyone has told us, but I do think age grade's the critical area where we've got to do a lot of work.
Did we hear anything on the vote, the Pilkington report?
No, that's
when
coming
is
up tomorrow.
That's tomorrow.
9:30 a.m.
Someone said it was
Thursday, 9:30 a.m. The meeting starts, presided over by Tasman's own Max Spence, who's the president of New Zealand Rugby. So he presides over this very critical meeting. We'll know by about 10:30, they say.
I was having a discussion with someone yesterday about, and I pointed out AFL when I was in Western Australia. I had 2 stepsons, and we took them down to their first session with, midget, and they run in all sorts of directions. It doesn't really matter what they do, but all the gear provided, everything, sweatshirts and balls, and there is no way those kids in Western Australia were going to be playing anything else. It was all laid on, including the opportunity to run on at half time at a at an Eagles or a Dockers game.
We talked about that on the way over. Actually, Bundy bring that exact point up about with the Warriors just getting guys involved, like you say, those fun days, getting kit into the boys and girls, and just growing awareness and
And the other interesting thing in the AFL ranks is all the club sides are the same colours as the Premier Division sides. So you've got club sides in the, say, Southwest WA League wearing Richmond colours and what have you. And just because the Eagles play in Perth doesn't mean those kids follow them. Often they'll follow Melbourne teams. So there's something about that very start in youth, and the fact that it is club-based. And your mates are in the club, the families in the club, the whānau, the wider whānau's in the club, and you go all the way through. And if you take them out of that club structure, I think you do lose them. And as you just pointed out, if you overcook the kids, not only with rugby, but they're playing basketball, they're playing 5 different sports, they'll be done by the time that they're 2021. So I think it's very, very important, whatever happens, if New Zealand Rugby are suggesting that this money they have is going into community rugby. If you want the game to survive, you've got to feed the regional clubs. You have to. But anyway, that's just my rant.
Yeah.
Nice. Good luck for the vote.
Yeah, my dad always makes a point that his opinion is we're becoming more and more Americanized in terms of the fact that just basically professional / semi-professional, or not a hell of a lot left behind, really. Like, it's just everything's geared towards that professional element, which I don't know.
Through the first 15.
Yeah, so I don't know the figures, but if you look at a Marlborough Boys College 22, there could be one, potentially 2 guys that may go on to play NPC rugby, and then there's might be 4 or 5 that play club rugby, and there's 15 that just end up, getting out of the sport. So, like you say, that you would think that's the area they need to target.
Yeah, and I would point out that you could do both, and I don't know the AFL model, but they should have a look at it, because they play professional sport, but they also, pour money into regional clubs. So, but anyway, that's where I feel. And the other point I'd make, and I can say it because I won't upset anybody, the Players Union, are they really in it because they're trying to get much bigger salaries like the US model for their players? And if we go down that road, we've lost the game.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's my rant. So there you go. Thank you very much. Appreciate you guys coming in. Fantastic to finally meet members of the Moutere Club. We've talked about them for about 3 years, and it's great to see people, in person, and also talk about some of the characters involved in the game. And it's just it's great to always look inside the clubs, isn't it, Les?
Yeah, absolutely. When you're a club that's 118 years old, there are always going to be great stories to be told.
Yeah,
it's a rich club, and I'm damn pleased that there are 2 fine gentlemen as part of the leadership group trying to keep this club moving forward, and we wish you all the very best in your endeavours.
Thank you very much for coming in.
Thank you.
Thanks for the opportunity.
That wraps up another episode of the Mako Rugby Roundup, and a huge thank you to our special guests, Jordy Hart and Alister Bundy Sutherland. Where does Bundy come from?
Oh.
Not Al Bundy. But...
Yeah, no.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, 1988 that program came out, and it's been my nickname since. So that 4th form, I got called Al Bundy.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, I think Beck gets a little upset when they start calling her Peggy.
Yeah,
yeah, a lot of years ago.
All right, good stuff. All the best to the Moutere Club. We'd also like to extend our gratitude to our venue sponsor, the Turf Hotel, Main Road, Stoke. Big thank you to co-host Les Edwards. Good luck with golf this afternoon. I think the weather's going to hold out. And all our listeners for tuning in. Remember, you can catch the podcast on talknelson.co.nz or on Spotify under MBS Talk Nelson, and on our social media channels, Facebook and Instagram. Have a great weekend. Good luck to those who are playing, and we'll see you again next week.
The Mako Rugby Roundup. What's on, where, and when. It's the Talk of Nelson. NBS Talk Nelson.